You ever stare at a stock chart and your eyes just glaze over? It looks like this chaotic mess of red and green bars. It's a lot. But what if I told you that inside all that noise, there's actually a really simple, powerful story being told? Well, today we're going to learn the language so you can read it. I mean, seriously, wouldn't it be amazing if you could just know what the market was thinking at any given moment? That's exactly what candlestick charts are made for. They're not just about tracking price. Nope. They are a visual language for market psychology, for that constant tug of war between buyers and sellers. And it all started, believe it or not, with a super smart rice trader hundreds of years ago. Meet Munehisa Homa. This guy, back in the 1700s in Japan, had a huge realization. He figured out that the price of rice wasn't just about supply and demand, it was driven by the emotions of the traders, the greed, the fear. That was the real story. So he needed a way to see that emotion on a chart. And just like that, he invented the very first candlesticks.
Okay, so before we can read these epic market stories, we have to learn the first word. And in this language, a single word is one candle. Each one is like a snapshot of a battle, and once you understand its parts, everything else just clicks into place.
All right, so here they are, the two main characters in our story. On the left, a bullish candle, that's when the price went up, and on the right, a bearish candle, price went down. Simple enough? But each one tells us four critical pieces of information: where the price opened, the high it reached, the low it hit, and where it finally closed. It's the whole story of one trading session, all packed into one little shape.
Now this thick part, the real body, this is the headline. It tells you straight up who won the battle. If you see a long body, that was a knockout punch. It was a decisive victory for either the buyers or the sellers. But a short body? That's a stalemate. It's a sign of total indecision, a tug of war where nobody could get the upper hand.
And these skinny little lines sticking out, people call them shadows or wicks, they tell you the drama of the session. They show the extremes. A long upper shadow? That means the buyers tried to push the price way, way up, but the sellers came in and slammed it right back down. A long lower shadow is the opposite story. Sellers tried to tank the price, but the buyers jumped in and said, no way, not happening. So, if a single candle is a word, what happens when you put a few of them together? Well, you get a sentence. We call these patterns, and they tell these short, powerful little stories about a potential change in the market. They're the signals that a big plot twist might be just around the corner. Check this out. This is one of the classic patterns, the bullish engulfing. The story it tells is so clear. First, you've got a red candle. Sellers are in charge, pushing the price down. But then, the very next session, bam! This massive green candle appears and completely swallows the previous red one. That's not just a small win, it's a story of a complete reversal of power. Buyers just stepped in and totally overwhelmed the sellers.
Okay, now here's where a lot of people get tripped up. You start seeing patterns that look almost identical, and you're thinking, how in the world am I supposed to tell these apart? Well, the secret isn't just in how they look, it's in the subtle psychological story each one is telling. Let's take two that look kinda similar, the Morning Star and the 3 Inside Up. They both hint that a price drop might be over, but they're telling different stories. The Morning Star is all about indecision. See that tiny little candle in the middle? That's the market hitting the brakes, totally uncertain what to do next, before the buyers finally step in. The 3 Inside Up, though, is way more decisive. Buyers don't hesitate. They jump in right away to stop the price from falling any further. See the difference? It's about the market's state of mind. All right, now for what is maybe the most important part of this whole thing. We've learned the words, we've learned some senses, but to understand the entire novel, you absolutely need context. And in trading, context is all about the time frame. This is the secret that makes everything else work. And here it is. This is the golden rule that you cannot forget. The trend you see on a tiny 5-minute chart is just a ripple in the ocean compared to the massive trend on the daily or weekly chart. If you only look at the small picture, you're basically reading one random page from a book and trying to guess the ending. You just can't fight the main plot. The absolute best way to picture this is with an analogy. Think of the monthly chart as the deep, powerful ocean current. It's unstoppable. The daily chart, those are the big waves on the surface, and they always move in the same direction as the current. And the hourly chart, that's just the tiny little ripples on top of the waves. The ripples follow the waves, and the waves follow the current. You always have to start by figuring out which way the main current is flowing. So, how do we actually put all of this knowledge to work? Well, it really comes down to one simple thing. Making sure the story you're trying to read actually matches the journey you're trying to take. You have to align your time frame with your personal trading style.
And really, it's just common sense. If you're a long-term investor looking years down the road, you should be reading the long-term story on the weekly or monthly charts. But if you're a day trader trying to get in and out in a few hours, then yeah, you're focused on the much shorter story told on the hourly or minute charts. You've got to pick the right lens for the job.
This quote just nails it perfectly. Trying to make a 10-year investment decision by looking at a 1-minute chart, that's like trying to understand the entire plot of a novel by reading a single sentence from chapter 5. It's absurd. It's the wrong tool, and it's only going to lead to a world of confusion.
So there you have it. Those charts, they're not just random lines anymore, are they? They're a language. They're telling a story about human emotion, about fear and greed and this constant battle for control. You now have the basic dictionary to start reading that story for yourself. The only question left is, what will it tell you?